What's up, everyone? So, as you may know, my friend Justin and I are in a flipping challenge, and I think it was at the beginning of February. I actually picked up a bunch of Pokemon cards and started sorting through them and everything. Um, I grew up with Pokemon cards. I remember having them as a young kid, and I loved them. But I never really understood which ones were of value and which ones, weren't that valuable. So when I got these cards, I decided to just kind of do some research and figure out the value of these cards. Which ones are more valuable. Things to look for when looking for Pokemon cards. So I've learned some things. A lot of it is just basic information, but it's things that I didn't know, and maybe some people don't know to look for. So I figured this would be a good opportunity to create a video and share what I've learned for those of you who are maybe wanting to get into flipping and have ran across Pokemon cards but just don't know much about them, or things like that. I just figured this would be a good opportunity just to share some information so that you guys could maybe pick up on it as well. So let's go ahead and get started. All right. So first things first is basically all the cards I got were from the first generation Pokemon. So those are most likely going to be your higher value cards just because they are the originals and they're considered vintage. If you see them listed on like eBay or whatever and you see it as WOTC Pokemon cards, it stands for Wizards of the Coast. They were the first ones to print these. So to determine basically, I guess, the rarity of the card is you would look at the bottom right corner here. You can see that's just a regular circle. That means it's a common card. Right here you'll see a diamond. That means it's uncommon. And then if it has a star, that means that it's a rare card. Just because a certain Pokemon, you see this Flareon, just because a certain Pokemon is rare in one set does not mean it's going to be a rare in another set. And I'll explain to you what I mean by sets. So there were multiple sets when these cards came out. The original sets were, they're just called the base set. So right here, base set, if you look here, there's no symbols or anything there. So this was the base set. The only set that was ran before this was shadowless cards. And what shadowless is, if you see this drop shadow right around the picture there, the shadowless cards do not have the shadow there. Now those are going to be the most valuable cards because those were like some of the first runs of Pokemon cards. But besides that, the next one is the cards with the shadow there. So this is a base set card, and it's just a common. Another set of cards they printed is this base, that 2 right there with the Pokeball in it. That means it's a base set 2. So this was the next set of cards that they printed. They printed quite a few runs of these, so these are not quite as valuable unless you have like a holographic rare, like a Charizard or something. These aren't going to be like super valuable. Another set they did is a Team Rocket set. So not all the Pokemon has a Team Rocket version. But this R here is what is the Team Rocket set. So, and this is a Dark Jolteon. So, they ran these as well. There's this little, I guess you can call it like a petal thing here. This is their jungle set. So they didn't run not all the Pokemon have a jungle set version of them as well. So only some of them do. As you can see, it says 19. I don't know if you can see that. It says 19 out of 64. So there's only 64 Pokemon that have a jungle set version of them. This Zubat here, you see it's like It's like a footprint there. That is the fossil set. And this is 57 out of 62 there. So they only did 62 Pokemons in the fossil set. And then this Team Rocket here. Get that in focus. This is number 38 out of 82 of the Team Rocket Pokemon. And you can see here, this is the base set to Sparrow. This is 92 out of 130 of the base set 2 Pokemon. And then this Rattata is 61 out of 102 of the base set Pokemon. Just because there's less Pokemon that they used in that set doesn't mean that set is more rare necessarily, because they could have done tons of runs of it. But one thing to note is there are people who try to collect the full set of fossil cards, the full set of Team Rocket, the full set of the jungle cards, and then they'll sell them off in full sets. And as a set, they're pretty valuable. You can sell them for a pretty good amount. I haven't really looked into how much because I didn't have a full set of anything, so I didn't even worry about that. The other big thing is just the quality of the card. There was actually, I got these from someone who was collecting them. So he took very well care of them. It was an older gentleman. So it wasn't like kids were playing with them or anything. You may be able to see there's a little bit of wear on the side, but very little. So these, in my personal opinion, I would say are near mint. Almost all my cards were this quality, so I got lucky with that as well. Obviously, the more wear and tear there is on them, the less valuable they're going to be. So one thing I was kind of learning, but it's actually, it was just a lot to look at, was this is a base set card. But if you look at the bottom, they have some dates here. It's basically just the copyright here. If you look into that more, there's a couple runs of cards. So like this is a base set. This has a shadow, so this obviously wasn't one of the first runs. But if you get a shadowless card, and you may have to look it up online if I can find the link to where they explain this. But down here, for the very first runs of the cards, this right here, this copyright changed, was different than the second run or the third run, things like that. So if you found out that you have a shadowless card from the base set and it's from the very first run, I'm sure that's of a very high value. So I would, if you have any shadowless cards, I would probably just do more research into how valuable that card is. Unfortunately, I didn't get any shadowless cards, but I did have quite a few base sets, holographics, so that's nice. And then one more thing you can look at is in this corner, which this one doesn't have it, you would see a little first edition symbol. That means it's a first edition card. Those are valuable as well. I got a few, but nothing in this deck that I have with me right now. But I did get quite a few first edition cards, so that raises the value as well. So just a few things to remember when looking at Pokemon cards, just real quick. Quick checks would be looking at this bottom right corner, seeing how rare the card is, checking what set it's coming from. If it's a base set, seeing if it has a shadow or not, and then seeing if it's a first edition card, and then as well as if it's a holographic, obviously. All these things just increase the value of these cards. So I do still have quite a bit to learn when it comes to valuing Pokemon cards. This was just some quick research I did just to learn and understand more as to what makes them valuable. But this is enough information just to kind of quickly look at some cards and understand which ones are of some value. I'm going to put a link in the description of where I got some of this information, and so you guys can read into it as well, and hopefully it helps you guys out with maybe selling Pokemon cards or things like that, or if you have a collection, you can look through it and see just how valuable the cards you have are. I know I personally can't find my personal collection from when I was younger, but I know I kept it. It's somewhere at my parents' house in their attic, and I know I have some very valuable cards in there. I remember having at least 8 or 10 holographic Charizards. I don't know what set they're from, or if they're first edition or shadowless or anything like that, because I didn't know to look for that at the time. But what I do know is they were kept in a binder. We didn't play with them, we just collected them and kept them organized in a binder, and so they should be in great condition. So I'll be super happy once I find those. So after sorting through all these cards, I actually went to a website called Troll and Toad, and it's just a website of all types of different trading cards and things like that, and it'll tell you basically their value of like how much other stores are selling them for. I don't know how accurate this is, so I kind of took the price they had and kind of just took a little bit off of it, just because I don't know how accurate their pricing is, or how realistic it is. I've told some people said their pricing is a little bit high, so I took that into account. But I'll add a link to that website in the description. So if any of you guys want to just check that out and just kind of get an idea of the value of the cards you have. The next thing I decided to do was I just kind of thought about, well, do I want to sell these cards all individually, or do I want to sell them in lots, just like stacks of cards, or do I kind of want to split it up? And just after thinking about it, obviously selling them individually would have taken a very long time, and some of these cards probably wouldn't have sold just because of their value so low. So I decided to put them in lots, and I distributed them by basically making a stack of commons, uncommons, and rares. And then I put all the holographics and the Black Star promos off to the side at the time. And then I evenly distributed each stack separated them into 50 lots. And then there was 25 total holographics or Black Star promo cards. So I put those in every other stack. So basically they had a 50% chance of getting one of those higher value cards. So they ended up with probably about 36 commons, 17 uncommons, and about 5 rares in each stack with the 50%. And then the 50% chance of the holographic or Black Star promo. So I would have to say that Pokemon cards are worth it most of the times. For flipping, I would really just kind of do your research when looking at them. I did get lucky because I only spent $50 for over 3,000 cards. So I got really lucky there. But as I was looking for cards, one thing I was taking into account is anyone who was selling large amount of cards. I would actually kind of look at the other listings, and if I noticed that they were selling other Pokemon cards individually, then that kind of gave me the hint that they have probably already gone through all of those cards and took out the high value cards. So obviously, if you don't have very many high value cards in there, or none at all, and they're all just common or uncommons, even putting them into lots, it's going to be more difficult to sell. You'd have to probably put them into larger lot sizes, like 100 cards for like $10 or something, if you don't really have any valuable cards in there. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you are able to learn something from this, and for those of you who are thinking about getting into flipping cards and things like that, I hope it helped make your decision. If you find the right cards, it's definitely worth it. I haven't dug into sports cards or anything else like that. I really only dealt with Pokemon cards, but I am looking into diving into other types of cards. But anyways, thank you for watching. Like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time.